Def Leppard burst onto the scene in 1980 as part of the new wave of British heavy metal. The first album, On Through the Night, did pretty well in the UK, but was not popular in other countries. Then the second album from 1981, High and Dry, they started to define their sound. And this was also helped by their producer, Mutt Lange. He was a very popular producer. He also produced some of AC/DC's best albums like Back in Black and Highway to Hell. He produced that album and he brought it to the mainstream, and he called the album Pyromania. That is the subject matter of this video, released on January 20th, 1983. Now celebrating its 40th anniversary. This new sound brought them into the mainstream. It was good timing because MTV was still in its infancy and they were able to have some of their music videos played on the channel during the daytime, and that helped catapult them into superstardom. This is one of the best albums in my opinion for me. I always go back and forth between this one and Hysteria from 1988, but this album is solid front to back, had some hit singles and a really great sound, so let's talk about it. So here's the CD. I just recently picked this up again because I remember I lost my original copy. Definitely great from Mercury Records. So check it out. Here's the CD with the track listing. And here's the booklet. Inside the booklet are just lyrics to all the songs. Definitely pretty cool. But I think the most important thing about this album is that it had lots of hit singles, and the album is just very iconic. Later on in 1983, the band Quiet Riot would release their album Metal Health. And that was always considered to be like the first heavy metal album to reach #1 on the Billboard Top 200. But I think without Pyromania, Quiet Riot's Metal Health never would have reached that recognition. I think the thing that makes Pyromania a classic album is because these songs are very captivating. It's an album where every song is distinctive. You can say that some of the songs are better than others, but they're not any weak songs. And the album cover is just very cool. The production's very good. You can tell they were going for a different type of sound. You hear a little more like reverb in the guitars, and a lot of songs had very unforgettable backing vocals. My first memory of this album was the song Rock of Ages, and I think I saw it on MTV when it came out. I guess I was turning about 12 years old at that time, and the thing that stood out was the song at the beginning where they say, Gunther Glieten Glatten Globen. And I thought I was counting like 1, 2, 3, 4 in German. I thought that for the longest time, but upon doing my research and after listening to like some Rammstein albums, I found out it's basically gibberish. They just wanted it to sound like German, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's a cool song because it's a hard rock song and has elements of traditional heavy metal, but it's very cool, it's very snappy, it's captivating, has a sing-along quality, and one of their best songs. So let's talk about the rest of the album. Opening track, Rock Till You Drop, that's the one song where you start to hear the change in sound. It has more like a big theatrical, kind of science fiction type of sound, or I also think of the band Queen, like that type of sound. And that was that signature sound at the time. It was not released as a single in any country except for the country of Mexico. Kind of interesting, but still a great album opener. Photograph was another one of the big singles. They played it on MTV very often, and it was a big hit. According to Joe Elliott, it's about something that you can never get your hands on. Song concept that's been imitated by many other bands. Another good deep cut is called Stage Fright. This is the song where they bring back that theatrical aspect of the album. But it's a song that has some elements of classic heavy metal, and it's also very catchy. After that is one of the power ballads called Too Late for Love. Another one of the chorus is very simple and just saying, it's too late for love. Just that simplicity just makes it very infectious, the kind of song that sticks in your head. But you probably thought this was a very commercial pop rock type of album, but the next song is probably one of their heaviest and darkest songs called Die Hard the Hunter. It's about a soldier who comes back from war and he goes on a killing spree. This is the kind of song where the band is saying, hey, we got some heavy metal still left in us. Over the years, there's been some confusion about the real meaning of the song. Some people have thought it was about Ian Hunter from the band Mott Lange, but according to Joe Elliott, it was inspired by the movie The Deer Hunter. That was from 1978 about soldiers in Vietnam. After that, we have another one of the singles, and that's one of the power ballads, and reminds me a lot of the song from High and Dry called Bringing on the Heartbreak, and the name of the song is Foolin'. And it has that type of sound and structure, something they would do on their other albums like Love Bites. Songs are a big hit, and has its place in pop culture, has been used in various video games and TV shows. So I already talked about Rock of Ages. The last 3 songs are deep cuts, and they're called Coming Under Fire. And it's a snappy song, just a classic Def Leppard type of song, everything you would expect from this band. And then Action, Not Words, that one's pretty cool. I like the opening guitar riff. It has a very blues rock type of sound, maybe similar to something like Aerosmith. I think even Aerosmith were going for this type of sound when they came back in the late 80s. And on this song you can hear elements from the original sound of the first 2 albums. There's still a little bit of traditional heavy metal here with some chugging guitar riffs. It's a really good deep cut. The last song, Billy's Got a Gun, that was inspired by the movie Death Wish, just about a guy in a really bad place. He pulls out a gun on the subway. And another song where they still have that traditional heavy metal sound. The guitar riff reminds me of something like Saxon or Dio, that type of early heavy metal from the 80s. This one also has a great stomping bass guitar verse section, and something that they would be doing quite often on some of their subsequent albums. The song also has a very big chorus with an epic sound, mixing keyboards and mixing the guitars. Just a really good album closer. So that's all I'm going to say about this. Like I was saying before, I go back and forth between this one and Hysteria being my favorite Def Leppard album. I don't think they're going to top this. The more recent albums have just been okay for me, but I think the first 4 albums will always be the best. So that is all. Let me know in the comments what you think of this band, this album, and see you in the next one.